Hello and welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. My name is Eleanor and I am a British American oboist studying at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, literally my dream school. And it took me a long way to get there. I applied and auditioned for 12 schools in 3 different countries. It was a lot of hard work, but oh my gosh, so worth it. I want you to have the confidence to work hard in achieving your goals. So come with me as we go on this journey together. So sit down, pull up a chair, take a seat, or if you're on the go, welcome to the Confident Musicianing Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Confident Musicianing Podcast. I am so glad that you are here. We're going to have some fun today. It's going to be good. Today, we are going to be talking basically about something really exciting. I did my very first orchestra course. And what I mean by that is, it was a week-long summer intense course as being in an orchestra. And so when I say that, I've done youth orchestra things before. I've been in youth orchestras, but they weren't like week-long intensives. I've never done that format before. And it was interesting, and it was such a fun experience, and I want to share with you my takeaways, because whether you have done so many of these and you're just interested to see what maybe I think about them, or you're thinking about doing your first one, let's just dive right into what my takeaways are. But before we do that, there's like a little life update part of the episode, and basically what that is I just share something with you, something small, sometimes it's not that small, about something I've either been working on or I've done, or something exciting. And today it's an interesting one because I've been posting a lot on Instagram for over 3 years now. I have been posting on Instagram, and I love sharing my journey as an oboist with you guys on Instagram. And it's actually really funny because people ask me all the time, why did you start doing Instagram? Why did you decide to start posting videos about oboe? And it's a really funny story as to why I started. I started at the beginning because I wanted to create a portfolio for universities and conservatoires that I was applying to kind of see my playing, because I was nervous that I would do an audition and afterwards I'd be like, oh, I wish I had done it like this or like that. And so my strategy was I created an Instagram, and it was like a portfolio. It was just like playing videos and things like that. I think there were some other videos, but it was playing, and I put that in my personal statement in my, at least for the UK, my applications. And I don't know if they saw it, I don't know if they looked at it, but for me that was kind of I want to show them more of, what I practice and other things that I've been playing and things like that. And so for me, that was a portfolio I did. And then after I got into the programs I got into, and I decided, I actually started getting messages from some of you guys saying things like, oh my gosh, your videos are really helpful to me, or I find them really fascinating or interesting. And I thought, okay, I need to continue to do this on Instagram for the reason of sharing these things. And I realized after that, I was like, it's interesting because during my applications for conservatoires, there were things that I felt very lonely in, very kind of isolated. I think that was just kind of me. I think especially because I was transitioning from the American style of oboe playing to the European. At that point, not yet, but I was thinking about it, and I was nervous that it wouldn't work, and I was scouring the internet, and I couldn't find anything. And I was like, oh gosh, I wish there was someone on the internet who could tell me if this will work or not. And obviously there couldn't be anyone who would definitely tell me, but like someone who has experienced this before. And so I decided, after I got into the school that I got into, I decided I was going to be that person. So that's why I have been documenting my oboe journey on Instagram. Now, the life update thing, you might be wondering why I'm telling you this, is because I'm starting to do it more on TikTok now. I kind of didn't do TikTok for the majority of the time. I only got it in this year, like earlier this year. And I am really starting to kind of post more on there as well. And so if you want to join me on Instagram and join me on TikTok, those things will be linked in the description, in the show notes. I really hope to see you there, because I'm very excited about the things that I am sharing over there. Yeah. All right. Let's get back to the course. Let's get back to this, the thing that, you know, is the title of the episode. My very first orchestra course. This course was so much fun. So it was in Edinburgh. I commuted every single day. It was, I think, 8 or 9 days. It was 8 days. I commuted every single day, and I have not really commuted that much continuously before, so that was something that was really exciting. And yeah, we played Holst's Planets, and then we had some other supplementary pieces to go with it. And it was every single day. The rehearsals were like from 7 hours to 9 hours long. And we just did these pieces, and we had sectionals, and then we had rehearsals together, and then we had, you know, other things, and it was so intense. It was so intense and so much fun. And afterwards, I was so tired, just so extremely tired, and it's been about a week-ish since I've done that, a little more, and I am excited to tell you about the takeaways. So let's dive right into the takeaways. The first takeaway was that it was so intense and so worth it. And this was interesting because my mindset changed throughout the course. The first 2 days of the course, I was really overwhelmed by the intensity. I had never really done something like that as much, and I was really nervous about doing every single day at this intensity. I was nervous, and I think I kind of started to psych myself out. I let the overwhelm kind of take over me, and for those first 2 days I enjoyed them, but I was also extremely anxious and extremely nervous, and I was just kind of worried about it. And it's interesting because I took those 2 days, and then the third day there was actually a storm, and all the trains got cancelled, and I couldn't actually get to Edinburgh, and so I like couldn't go that day, and like that was fine. Like there were other people who couldn't go. It was kind of like a thing that like part of the orchestra was not able to be there that day, and I was one of those people. And having that extra day to kind of just sit and think about the situation and kind of have some breathing space. I felt quite claustrophobic in this schedule. Having breathing space really helped me realize, number one, it's not that long. It'll be okay. It's just a week, and it's an intense week, but it's a week. And number two, this is an amazing opportunity. Like, it's an amazing opportunity to be able to play this. We're playing Holst's Planets, all of the planets. And I was like, I want to give this my all. Like, I really want to give this my all. And yes, I'll be tired, but that is just the byproduct of having a really good time in orchestra. And so then when I got back the next day, I just gave it my all. And the thing about it, because then you're like, okay, well, how did you not burn out or feel burnt out? I think at the end of it, I definitely felt like I didn't want to play the oboe for a day or two. But I made sure I had a balance. I had a balance of doing things where I'm like really focused in orchestra. Then when I got home, I really rested. I did things I enjoyed. I didn't think about the music. I didn't think about that. So I could create kind of that balance. On the train, I knitted. I made it a thing. Like, I just would knit and knit and knit. That really helped my brain just kind of chill. And that was a really good balance to have between the, really important go time and the really important rest time. The second thing is the importance of playing in an orchestra setting. It's interesting because I did youth orchestra for 3 years in the US, and that was an every week thing. It was like 3 hours every single week. And so it wasn't like a week-long course, right? And it's interesting because I did that, and then I came over to the UK, I started my degree, and during my first year, I did orchestra projects, like I played in an opera, and I did wind orchestra and things like that, but I wasn't in like full orchestra. I didn't get put in that for first year, and so because of that, like I don't think I realized it. I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm doing projects and whatnot, but then when I got into this orchestra course, it just reminded me of just how much I love playing in a full orchestra, and just how important it is to get practice playing in a full orchestra. And so I think it's so important, if you have not joined like a youth orchestra or something like that, like I invite you to do that. Just audition, just join, it depends, some of them you audition, some of them you don't, but like, if you need to audition, just audition and just have fun with it, because it's such a good learning opportunity to be able to be in that setting in an orchestra, and it's so much fun. It really, really is. And it felt kind of nostalgic as well. Like I felt really cool because that orchestra I was in the States was such a cool, amazing place to be, an amazing orchestra, and it just reminded me of that, and that made me really happy as well. So the third thing is being resourceful and focusing on the joy. I think I kind of smushed two things in this third one. So let's break it down. So for instance, this week I had a specific challenge for me, and that was that I had to play the cor anglais, the English horn, and there are two styles of like keys on oboes and cors. Cor anglais, and the style that I'm used to is called the conservatoire style, and that is a key style. They're like, different kind of fingerings for whatever the notes are, but then there's a different style that's very common in the UK called the thumb plate style, which I am not as familiar with, and the cor anglais that they had me play was a thumb plate cor anglais, and so basically some of the notes were different. Like how you played the notes, how what fingers you put down to play the notes, they were different. And so at the beginning of the week, I was kind of like, I was stressed out, and I was like working through it, and I was making a lot of mistakes. But by the end of the week, I decided at that point, I had decided to be resourceful and flexible. I was like, okay, this is something I've never, I have kind of played thumb plate a little bit before, but it was like, this is a big deal, this is really important, I'm not really sure how to do this, but I'm going to give it my all, and I'm going to be resourceful, and I'm going to learn from it, so that later in my oboe career, if anyone's like, hey, you need to do this, or let's say, I don't know, my oboe needs repairing, and I have something I need to do, and the only oboe that I'm able to get a hold of is a thumb plate oboe. Having this experience might be really helpful for that. So for me, I saw it as a really important learning opportunity, and by the end of the week I was doing it, and I was doing it without thinking, and I was so proud of myself, and it was so cool. And so I think that is a really important thing, and I'm really proud of myself for that. But being resourceful, if you have an issue, if you have a problem, I invite you to be like, how can I creatively solve this, rather than, oh my gosh, there's another issue. Do you know what I mean? And then with the focusing on the joy, at the end of the week, I was playing 2 concerts in a church. I was playing Holst's Planets. It was amazing, and it was actually part of the Edinburgh Fringe, so that was quite a surreal experience. And it just reminded me the importance of joy in playing. It is so important to focus on the joy and the feeling of the music. So important, and I had so much fun. All right. Yeah. Oh, it was so good. Before we do our recap, I want to tell you about something very exciting. This is a tool that I use in practice to really help me with effectiveness and organization, and that is a notable practice journal. In my notable practice journal, I can not only plan my practice, but also reflect so that I can make sure I continue to grow in my sessions. As soon as I realized that this was helping me, I knew I needed to tell you about it, and I knew that I needed to give you a code. So use code Eleanor15 for 15% off your journal. And let's get organized and like work through our sessions effectively, because don't we all want that? I do not recommend anything that I don't absolutely love. This code is an affiliate code, so I do receive a commission with no extra cost to you. All right, let's do a recap. So the first thing, it was so intense but so worth it. And once I changed my mindset from, oh my gosh, this is so intense, to this is intense but I'm ready for it and I'm gonna balance out working hard to resting hard, it was so much better. The second thing is the importance of playing in an orchestra setting. This experience reminded me of how important playing in an orchestra setting is, and I invite you to do that, to play in an orchestra setting and to join that youth orchestra or audition for that ensemble or whatever it is, because it is so good to get that experience. And the last thing is being resourceful and focusing on the joy. I had a problem, right? I had one type of experience in terms of playing one type of cor anglais, and they had a different cor anglais, and I really needed to figure that out and work through it, and I decided I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna be a learning opportunity. And by the time it was the concert, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. All right, that is about it for this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am so grateful. Again, all the links to do with this episode will be in the show notes, from the link to Instagram, to my TikTok, to the Notable Practice Journal as well. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please do like and subscribe, follow, all of the things, and share it with all of your musical friends. And I will see you in the next episode. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.